Every frame is not just a place, it is a moment where you feel alive. Arishiyama. The bamboo rustles like the breath of the planet. You stand there, and the world seems to listen to you. Bali, where the morning smells of salt, and the day begins with an adventure. Bandung, roads leading into the clouds. Every turn is like a new story. Borobudur, thousands of years in a single glance. Stone remembers more than we do. Step by step, through time, through noise, through yourself. Fushimi Inari, you are no longer just a tourist, you are the journey. The sea. No route, no rules. Just you and the horizon. This world is not a map. It is a challenge. Not where to go, but who will you become when you return? Let's go.
To understand Serra da Estrela, one must learn to read a language written in stone. This is not merely the highest mountain range in mainland Portugal. It is a monumental testament to the last ice age. Over 20,000 years ago, colossal glaciers carved their slow, inexorable path through this granite heartland, leaving behind a profound geological memory. The Zezera Valley, stretching for 13 kilometers, is one of Europe's most perfect examples of a U-shaped glacial valley, a vast trough scoured from the rock. All around, the landscape is dotted with covos, high-altitude cirques where the ice began its journey, and weathered granite tors that stood like islands in a frozen sea. The shepherds and their flocks, who have navigated these highlands for centuries, walk through a history far older than their own. A powerful reminder that the narrative of this place was first authored not by man, but by ice. Straddling the Pacific Ring of Fire, the 83 islands of Vanuatu are a testament to geological turmoil, a place where new land is still being born from the ocean's depths. Yet this volcanic crucible has forged something far more complex than mere landscapes. It has cultivated the highest density of languages on Earth. For a population of just over 300,000, there are more than 130 distinct indigenous languages spoken here, a staggering legacy of human separation. For millennia, the rugged volcanic terrain and the deep water channels between these islands acted as natural barriers, isolating small communities and allowing their cultures and tongues to evolve in unique, divergent paths. This isn't just a collection of islands. It's an archipelago of distinct worlds, each with its own story, its own cosmology, preserved in the very structure of its speech. To travel through Vanuatu is to witness a living library of human adaptation, where the land itself has authored 1,000 different ways of being. Carved by the tectonic upheaval of Africa's Great Rift, the Omo Valley is less a landscape and more a living geological record. Its sedimentary layers, exposed by the patient work of the Omo River, have yielded some of the most significant hominid fossils ever discovered, pushing back the timeline of our own species by hundreds of thousands of years. This profound antiquity is not confined to museums. It permeates the very air and earth, a silent backdrop to the vibrant mosaic of human life that flourishes here. For millennia, the river has served as a lifeline, allowing more than a dozen distinct ethnic groups to develop in relative isolation, each with their own unique language, intricate social structures, and traditions tied inextricably to the seasonal floods. To journey here is to witness a continuum of human adaptation, a place where the deep past and the dynamic present are not separate chapters, but a single, unfolding narrative written in the dust and the water. Bogor's moniker, the Rainy City, is far more than simple folklore. It is a direct consequence of its dramatic geological cradle, a fact written into the very air. Nestled between the volcanic peaks of Mount Salak and Mount Gedid, the city is subject to a near-constant orographic effect, where moist air is perpetually forced upward, cooling and condensing into the legendary downpours that can arrive with clockwork precision each afternoon. This perpetual moisture is the very lifeblood that sustains one of the world's oldest and most significant scientific institutions, the 87-hectare Bogor Botanical Gardens. Founded by the Dutch over 2 centuries ago, this sprawling landscape is a living library of tropical flora, a direct beneficiary of the volcanic soil and the relentless rain. The result is an atmosphere thick with the scent of damp earth and blooming orchids, a place where the line between a curated garden and a wild rainforest feels beautifully and purposefully blurred. Here, the rain is not merely weather. It is the architect of a unique ecosystem, a force that has cultivated both a staggering biodiversity and a deep, enduring history. Long before the first sails cut across its bays, the character of the Côte d'Azur was forged not by society, but by fire. This dramatic coastline, with its crimson cliffs plunging into the sea, is the remnant of a colossal volcanic range from the Permian period, over 250 million years old. The iron-rich porphyry rock, which gives the Esterel Massif its signature hue, dictates the very shape of the shore, carving out the secluded calanques and jagged headlands that offer shelter from the famous Mistral wind. Here, the scent of Aleppo pine and wild lavender mingles with the mineral tang of ancient stone, a constant reminder of the raw nature that underpins the region's cultivated elegance. It is a profound juxtaposition, a landscape of immense geological age serving as the stage for the most ephemeral of human pleasures. To truly understand the Riviera is to see beyond the veneer of glamour and recognize the deep, enduring power of the earth itself, a foundation of fire and time upon which all else is built. In a Pacific Ocean, where the histories of so many islands are punctuated by foreign flags, the Kingdom of Tonga stands as a remarkable exception. It is the only Polynesian nation to have never been formally colonized, a sovereign state whose royal lineage can be traced back for over 1,000 years. This unbroken thread of governance is not an abstract historical footnote. It's palpable in the deep-seated respect for tradition and the monarchy's enduring presence. Captain Cook famously christened these the Friendly Islands in the late 1700s, a name that belied the strategic acumen and fierce independence of his hosts. That duality persists today, a genuine warmth extended to outsiders, underpinned by a profound and unyielding sense of self-determination. It's a quiet confidence born from navigating the tides of global change on its own terms, a continuous story told across more than 170 islands, each a testament to a kingdom that has always charted its own course. To gaze upon Bali's emerald rice terraces is to witness a landscape sculpted by both water and faith. These are not merely fields. They are the physical expression of a 1,000-year-old cooperative system known as the Subak. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Subak is governed not by a central authority, but by a democratic community of farmers operating from water temples that dot the island. At its heart is the philosophy of Tri Hita Karana, a sacred balance between the divine, the human world, and nature. Every drop of water, channeled through a complex web of canals and weirs, is managed collectively, ensuring that this volcanic soil, a gift from the Pacific Ring of Fire, can sustain life for generations. It is a profound, living blueprint for sustainability, demonstrating how, for the Balinese, the practical act of farming is inseparable from a deep spiritual reverence for the earth that provides. The first thing one notices about Gwadar from above is its extraordinary shape, a hammerhead peninsula jutting defiantly into the Arabian Sea. This is no man-made structure, but a rare geological feature known as a tombolo, a former island permanently tethered to the mainland by a narrow spit of sand, painstakingly built by centuries of wave action and coastal currents. This natural deep-water harbor has long been a strategic nexus, a fact underscored by its unique history. For nearly 200 years, this land was not part of the subcontinent, but an overseas enclave of Oman, a distant outpost purchased back by Pakistan only in 1958. Standing on the isthmus, with the wind sweeping in from the open ocean, one understands its ancient Persian name, Gwadar, the door of the wind. It is a place where the earth itself seems to have conspired with human ambition, a timeless crossroads where the patient geology of the past now meets the powerful geopolitical currents shaping the 21st century. To truly understand Sintra, one must first understand its mountain. This is no ordinary peak, but a massive granite intrusion that forced its way through the surrounding limestone plains some 80 million years ago. This unique geological origin, combined with its immediate proximity to the Atlantic, conspires to create a persistent microclimate, a world of swirling mists and astonishing humidity that the Romans once named the Mountain of the Moon. It is this very combination of mineral-rich soil and trapped ocean moisture that allows for its almost supernatural fertility, where giant sequoias and exotic tree ferns from across the globe thrive in the shadow of ancient Moorish ramparts. The result is a landscape born of volcanic fire and shaped by sea breeze, providing the perfect mystical canvas upon which centuries of kings, mystics, and poets could project their most extravagant fantasies. Here, the boundary between the natural world and human imagination feels not just blurred, but entirely dissolved. As dawn's first light cuts through the mist of the Kedu Plain, Borobudur reveals itself not as a building placed upon a hill, but as the hill itself, reborn. Its construction is a marvel of both scale and precision. An estimated 2 million blocks of volcanic andesite, quarried from nearby riverbeds, were fitted together without a single trace of mortar. This colossal three-dimensional puzzle, held fast for over a millennium by gravity and intricate interlocking joinery, is also a sprawling stone library. Along its galleries, more than 2,600 individual relief panels guide the pilgrim through a visual narrative of Buddhist cosmology. Built during the 8th and 9th centuries by the Sailendra dynasty, its very architecture embodies a map for the soul, a physical ascent through 9 stacked platforms that mirrors the spiritual journey from the realm of earthly desire at its base to the ultimate, formless truth of nirvana represented by the great central stupa at its peak. Here, at the very tip of the Baja California Peninsula, stands a natural gateway carved from time itself. Known locally as El Arco, this is no mere sea stack. It is the final punctuation mark of a vast granite batholith, cooled magma that has been thrust upward and then relentlessly sculpted by wind and water for over 65 million years. This is Land's End, Finisterre, a place of dramatic duality. On one side, the relentless, deep blue surge of the Pacific Ocean crashes against the rocks. On the other, the turquoise waters of the Sea of Cortez, what Jacques Cousteau once called the world's aquarium, lie in relative calm. The arch doesn't just separate two bodies of water, it stands as a silent, geologic witness to their eternal meeting. It is a monument not to an end, but to a powerful and perpetual beginning, where two distinct worlds collide and create a unique ecosystem found nowhere else on Earth. To understand Bandung, one must first look to the land itself. The city rests on the floor of a vast prehistoric lake, formed when the ancient Mount Sunda erupted some 105,000 years ago, damming the Citarum River. This cataclysmic past bequeathed a legacy of incredibly fertile volcanic soil, a prize that drew early settlers and, centuries later, the Dutch colonialists. Seeking refuge from the sweltering coastal heat, they sculpted the highlands into sprawling tea plantations and built a city in their own image, a cool mountain haven they called Paris van Java, the Paris of Java. The elegant Art Deco architecture still stands as a testament to that era, a European dream superimposed upon a Javanese landscape. Today, the city's vibrant energy still echoes this unique inheritance, a metropolis born from volcanic fire and water, shaped by colonial ambition, and now defined by the creative spirit of its people. The past is not just history here, it is the very bedrock of the present. The Tasman Sea, named for the Dutch explorer Abel Tasman, who first charted these waters in 1642, is far more than a simple oceanic divide between Australia and New Zealand. It is, in essence, the liquid shroud of a lost continent. Beneath this turbulent surface lies Zealandia, a vast landmass, 94% of which sank after breaking away from Gondwana some 85 million years ago. The islands that punctuate its expanse, from New Zealand's southern Alps to the remote shores of New Caledonia, are not isolated landforms, but the highest, unsubmerged peaks of this drowned world. This profound geological history dictates the sea's very nature, its immense depth, its complex currents, and the unique marine life it cradles in its abyssal plains. It stands as a powerful testament to the planet's dynamic past, a constant reminder that the world we see is merely a fraction of the story hidden just beneath the waves. The name itself, Gili Air, translates from the local Sasak language not just to island, but specifically to water island. a simple title that belies a foundational truth. For centuries, it was the only one of its two siblings in this famed archipelago to possess natural subterranean wells of fresh water, a singular geological gift that didn't just sustain life, it dictated the island's destiny. While Gili Trawangan and Gili Menyo remained largely transient outposts, Gili Air nurtured the archipelago's first permanent fishing communities and the sprawling coconut plantations whose descendants still shade the inland pathways. You can feel this history today, a genuine, lived-in character that weaves itself seamlessly into the rhythm of tourism, rather than being displaced by it. It's a delicate equilibrium between worlds, a tranquil legacy born not from modern development, but from the simple, life-giving miracle of fresh water held deep within the coral sand. The coastlines of Belitung are a testament to deep time, a landscape sculpted by forces almost beyond comprehension. These colossal granite boulders, scattered across the turquoise shallows like the playthings of giants, are not volcanic debris. They are the exposed heart of an ancient landmass, remnants of a vast granite belt that formed over 200 million years ago during the Triassic period. Worn smooth by millennia of wind and water, their silent, monumental presence defines the island's character. Their cool gray forms a stark, beautiful contrast to the vibrant life of the surrounding reefs and the brilliant white of the kaolin-rich sand. But their significance runs deeper than aesthetics. This same ancient geology laced the island with cassiterite, the primary ore of tin, which for centuries dictated the fortunes of Belitung and its people, binding a modern economy to a story that began long before the first dinosaurs walked the earth. The approach to Mont Saint-Michel is a lesson in patience, governed not by human schedules, but by the ancient rhythm of the ocean. Here, in this corner of Normandy, the sea stages one of its most dramatic performances. The bay experiences the highest tidal variations in continental Europe, with the water level changing by as much as 15 meters between its high and low points. Twice a day, the vast, shimmering mudflats that stretch to the horizon are swallowed by a tide said to advance at the speed of a galloping horse, transforming the mount from a peninsula into a true island. This relentless cycle was the abbey's greatest defender. For over 1,000 years, these powerful currents made the fortress virtually impregnable, thwarting English sieges during the 100 Years' War. It's a profound reminder that the history of this place was not written by builders and bishops alone, but was fundamentally shaped by the inexorable pull of the moon, a force that both protected and defined this granite spire reaching for the heavens. To walk the Sen Bon Tori is to enter a living chronicle of devotion, a physical manifestation of prayer itself. Each of these vermilion gates, now numbering well over 10,000, is not merely an architectural flourish, but a personal offering to Inari Okami, the Shinto kami of rice, sake, and, most crucially for this landscape, commercial prosperity. Since the Edo period, individuals and corporations have donated these tori as a tangible expression of gratitude for success or a plea for future fortune. The gates form dense, winding corridors that snake for 4 kilometers up the sacred slopes of Mount Inari, creating a mesmerizing tunnel where sunlight fractures through crimson slats, dappling the ancient stone path. More than just a trail, this ever-expanding network transforms the mountainside into a vast, silent testament to the countless human stories of hope and ambition that have been woven, one gate at a time, into the very fabric of this forest. The ascent is a deliberate pilgrimage, 398 stone steps leading away from the city below and toward a view that has become a global emblem of Japan. Yet, what many who seek this frame-perfect image don't realize is its profound and relatively recent origin. This is the Chureito Pagoda, a monument built not in feudal times, but in 1963. It is, in fact, a cenotaph, a peace memorial dedicated to the nearly 1,000 citizens of this town lost in conflicts since the late 19th century. Its placement is no accident. The structure was carefully positioned so that the timeless, sacred presence of Mount Fuji would forever stand witness to this solemn act of remembrance. Here, the ephemeral beauty of the cherry blossoms and the enduring strength of the volcano are brought together, transforming a breathtaking landscape into a quiet, contemplative space where nature's grandeur holds a human plea for peace. Here, at the easternmost point of Java, the archipelago's most populous island, the day truly begins. Banyuwangi, the sunrise of Java, is far more than a geographical distinction. It is a historical echo chamber. For centuries, this was the final redoubt of the great Blambangan kingdom, the last Hindu-Buddhist stronghold to stand against the tide of Islam that had swept across the island. That legacy of defiance and distinction is not confined to history books. It is etched into the landscape and the very spirit of its people, the Osing. It's a land shaped by formidable forces, from the sulfuric breath of the Aegean volcanic complex, which has colored its earth and economy for generations, to the narrow, turbulent strait that separates it from Bali. This is a place where geography has acted as both a fortress and a filter, preserving a unique cultural identity that remains palpable to this day. To drift over Hill Inlet is to witness an impossible watercolor, a swirling masterpiece of turquoise and white painted by the tides. The architect of this palette is not pigment, but geology. The iconic sand of Whitehaven Beach is composed of 98% pure silica, a geological anomaly carried here by ancient sea currents over millennia, rather than eroded from the local stone. This extraordinary purity means the sand refuses to hold the sun's heat, remaining cool underfoot. And its microscopic rounded structure reflects light with such intensity that it illuminates the surrounding water, creating those signature shades of azure and aquamarine. Every step here is a connection to a vast, slow-moving story. What we see is not merely a coastline, but a luminous, shifting archive of deep time, a testament to the patient, powerful forces that have shaped our world one grain at a time. While the grand avenues of Karnak speak of imperial power, the temple at Dendera offers something more intimate, more miraculously intact. For nearly 2,000 years, the main structure lay buried to its capitals in sand and silt, a natural tomb that preserved not just the architecture, but the very pigment on its ceilings. Looking up inside the great hypostyle hall is to gaze into the Egyptian cosmos, a breathtaking canopy of deep lapis lazuli blue, crowded with divine figures and astronomical charts. Here, the goddess Nut arches her body to form the sky, while the famous circular zodiac, a Hellenistic-era addition, maps the heavens with an unnerving precision. This was not mere decoration. It was a functional, sacred machine for tracking time, a guide for aligning the temple's rituals with the eternal cycles of the stars. Dedicated to Hathor, the goddess of joy and motherhood, the entire complex feels less like a monument to a distant pharaoh and more like a living sanctuary, a final, brilliant flourishing of a civilization charting its place among the gods. Portugal's coast is not an edge, but a conversation, a relentless dialogue between the Iberian landmass and the full force of the Atlantic Ocean. Stretching for over 1,700 kilometers, this shoreline was, for the ancient world, quite literally the end of the earth. Yet this perception of finality bred not fear, but a profound and restless curiosity. You can see the evidence etched into the landscape itself. The sea-carved limestone arches of the Algarve are monuments to the water's patience, while the thunderous canyons of water off Nazaré reveal its raw, untamable power. This constant pressure from the west didn't just shape the rock. It forged a national character, compelling generations to look out not at a barrier, but at a vast, liquid frontier. It is here, on this precipice between continents, that one truly understands how a nation so small could be pushed to discover so much of the world. Here, at the edge of the world's oldest desert, stands Dune 7. Its name is deceptively simple, marking it as the seventh dune from the ephemeral Sawchab River, yet its scale is monumental, cresting at over 380 meters. What one must understand is that this is not a static landmark. Every grain of this apricot-hued sand began a journey thousands of kilometers away, weathered from ancient rock, carried to the sea by the Orange River, and swept north by the powerful Benguela Current. For 5 million years, the wind has been the final architect, lifting these particles inland and patiently sculpting this colossal form. The deep color is a testament to time itself, a coating of iron oxide, a slow rust that paints the desert in fire. To stand here is to feel the breath of that process, a relentless, creative force. This isn't merely a mountain of sand. It is a living repository of deep time, a slow-motion wave of earth, perpetually shaped by the invisible hand of the wind. The first impression of the Hopar Valley's glaciers can be profoundly disorienting. One arrives expecting pristine rivers of brilliant white, the archetypal alpine vista, but is instead confronted by a vast, chaotic expanse of dark rock and rubble that fills the valley floor from wall to wall. This is a classic landscape of debris-covered glaciers, where a thick, insulating mantle of moraine shed from towering sentinels like the 7,027-meter Golden Peak completely insulates the immense ice core hidden beneath. But this rugged, seemingly petrified cloak, which gives the initial impression of a static, lifeless geology, conceals a startling and potent dynamism. The Boltar Glacier, the valley's central pulsing artery, is a geological anomaly, one of the fastest surging glaciers on the planet, documented to advance as much as 1 relentless meter in a single 24-hour period. The air here is filled not with the expected mountain silence, but with the subtle yet constant sounds of this inexorable movement. The sharp, percussive crack of fracturing ice deep within the glacier's heart. The low, resonant groan of rising from the plains of Punjab. The Hiran Minar, or the Antelope's Tower, presents a striking, solitary silhouette against the sky. Its origins, however, reveal a tale not of conquest, but of affection. Commissioned in the year 1607 by the Mughal Emperor Jahangir, this entire complex stands as a memorial to his favorite pet antelope, Mansraj, who died here during a royal hunt. The emperor, a passionate naturalist, didn't just build a tomb, he engineered an ecosystem. The vast square water tank, once a thriving reservoir for game animals, surrounds a central octagonal pavilion, a tranquil island reached by a single causeway. It was a place of leisure and sport, yet its very heart is a monument to a beloved animal. Hiran Minar is a rare architectural paradox, an expression of imperial power on a colossal scale, driven by a profoundly personal and gentle sentiment, forever binding the story of a powerful ruler to his humble, four-legged companion. To step into the Arashiyama Grove is to experience a profound shift, not just in light, but in sound. The dense canopy is formed almost exclusively by Moso bamboo, a remarkable species that, during its peak growing season, can surge upwards by as much as 1 meter in a single 24-hour period. This relentless vertical race among tens of thousands of individual stalks creates the forest's signature cathedral-like effect, filtering the sunlight into a soft, ethereal emerald. This unique architecture also shapes the grove's acoustics. The wind moving through the hollow, towering columns produces a rustling and creaking so distinctive that Japan's Ministry of the Environment has designated it one of the nation's 100 protected soundscapes. It's a powerful reminder that this is not a wild, untamed forest, but a meticulously managed landscape, a tradition stretching back to the Heian period, when nobles cultivated such groves as living, breathing art forms for their estates. A testament to a culture that finds deep meaning in the elegant structure and resilience of nature itself.